Welcome back to Same Bright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful patterned kaftan or gown. As you can see right there, it has some balloon ruffles on the sleeve. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. Thank you. Tutorial, and I'll be using my Chantley lace. I have 2 yards here. I have 2 yards of Ankara for the combination, and I have 2 yards of my lining. So this lining, I'm going to make use of it for the lace. Okay, so I will turn it the other way, or I will use the bias, but I'm not using an interfacing for it. So of course we are going to see how we are going to do that. So the first thing we are going to do now is to start creating the dress. So we are going to start off the marking out of or drafting of the bodies. So the lining comes at 45. The lining I'm making use of has the length of 45. So since it has the length of 45, it's not going to be the size of my full length. So my full length is about 58. So if you can see, I have 45 here. So I'm using 4 yards of this lining because I'm going to fold it. I'm going to place on fold the lining. I'm placing it on the length to meet up the yardage this way. Can you see that? So this dress is actually a fitted dress. So I'll just arrange my lining this way. So by the time I get the length I want, I'll take the measurement of the length I want. I will cut it to serve as the front. Then I'll place it on top of the other one because of the short length of lining. So like I said, the lining I'm working with has a 45 inches length. So this is the length which I placed on fold. Okay, so I just placed it on one single fold because the length is not enough for my full length. So the full length I'm working with is 57 to 58 inches. So what I did is just to place my tape right here. So I'll first make a border line. So this border line I'll make now will serve as the starting point. So this is where I'm going to take all my necessary measurements. So from that point, on a single, I just placed this single. I'm going to place on another fold to make up the back body. So I'll place my tape to measure the desired length. So the desired length is 58. I've already marked it. So I'll simply cut the desired length out. So once I cut it out, I'll bring it and place on top. Can you see? So I'm placing it on top. So make sure you arrange it appropriately. If possible, secure with your pin. So once I do that, I will now cut out the length I desire. So that is how I'm working with for this particular lining that has a short length. So you can see, so here I have 2 of them, back and front. So I'll secure it with my pin now. We'll start marking out our necessary measurements. So I'm done arranging my lining. Okay, so we want to start up marking our the bodice of this dress. So for the drafting, make sure you place 1 inch. What I have from here to here is 1 inch for my zipper allowance. You know, this dress is a high necked dress, and it has a zipper. So this is the center front. So after 1 inch, then this 1 inch, I'll just highlight the line. I'll highlight the 1 inch line where I placed my center front. Can you see? So now I'm going to mark the border line once again. So I'm marking our border line. So this is the starting line, which is the border line. So this starting line, the first measurement we are going to take now is shoulder. So my shoulder is 15 inches divided by 4. Shoulder is 15 inches divided by 2. You divide your shoulder by 2. I have 7.5. I add half an inch for seam allowance because we are cutting directly on fabric. So that is the first thing you are going to mark. Then after marking it, I would like to take the vertical lines. So my vertical measurement from the shoulder, I will take my chest line. So to get your chest line is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. You add 1 inch of shoulder slant. That is how I get 9 inches. But because I'll add stitching allowance, I'll do 9.5. After that is my waist. From shoulder to waist is 17. I'll add half an inch for stitching. After that is my hip. Hip divided hip height is 29. I'll add half an inch. Then the next is the full length of the dress, which we marked cut at 58. Okay, so it's actually 57, but I added 1 inch for hemming. All right, so now we are going to rule all of these lines across. So I will rule it across to touch both front and back, because by the time we'll take off the back now, the front will also mark on the back. So you need to extend the lines on the 1 inch zip allowance. So now we have marked our shoulder and added half an inch for stitching. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take the measurement of my neck width. Neck width is 3 inches. Neck depth for back is 1 inch. So I'll mark it in the front dress. Neck depth for the front is 3 inches too. So you can decide to do 3.5 by 3.5, but let me work with 3 inches. It's okay. So but if you are on a plus size, you can do 3.5 width, 3.5 depth. So the neckline is actually high, so I'm using 3 by 3. So for the back neck, I'm going to connect the back neckline, and for the front neckline, I'll just go to my 3 by 3 and connect the neckline. So after that, I will have to mark out my shoulder drop. So the shoulder drop, I'll drop it from the shoulder line at 1 inch. So once I've done that, I'll connect from the neckline to the shoulder drop. On the chest line, I'm going to take the measurement of my shoulder. Everything I have from here to that that seam allowance is 8 inches. I'll connect it with a straight line to touch the shoulder drop. Now I'll come back to that chest line from the center front. I'll take my measurement of my bust divided by 4 is 10 inches. I'm going to add half an inch for ease, and I'll add 1 inch. So in other words, once you mark your bust circumference divided by 4, mine is 10 inches, simply add 1.5. So we'll be adding 1.5 for ease for all of them. So now I'm going to take the midpoint. What I have on the midpoint, I'll on the armhole line, I'll get the midpoint. Then you go in from this line by 0.75 or 3/4. connect that 3/4 to the shoulder. That is for front armhole. So I'll just place my pattern ruler this way for front armhole. Can you see? Here we are also going to mark back armhole. So back armhole, I'll go in by 1/2 inch, and then I'll connect. So when I'm cutting the back, I'll cut the back first before we now cut the front. So I'll connect the back armhole as well to the bust, so you can see the difference right there. So we are done with what we have on the upper piece here. We'll come over to the waistline. So on the waistline, from the center front, I'll take my waist circumference divide by 4. I'll mark. I'll simply add 1.5 inch to it, seam allowance and the ease of 1/2 inch, which is 2 inches added to your total hip. I will connect. We'll come over to your total waist. I mean, you come over to the hip. I will take my hip circumference, divide by 4 is 12. I'll add 1 inch, 1.5 inch. So just keep adding 1.5 inch to everything. And then I'm going to place my pattern ruler like this. Then I'll connect. So you can see the shape of the hip there. Then whatever I have here from the center front on the hip line to the point I marked is 13.5. I'll come to the hem. I'll mark the same 13.5. Everything I have my seam allowance. Then I'm going to connect a straight line from here. I'll connect a straight line, take it all the way to the hip line, as you can see. So we are done right now. So the next thing I'll do is on this waistline for the back. Note that we are going to have the contour line. Okay, so I always like to contour my waist. So I will just come from this 1 inch. So from this 1 inch I have here, lift up the waistline. This is the waistline. That's why I asked you to extend the line. So you lift it up and do what? I'll use this part of my tape. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and take the 0.75 inward. So from here I'll come in by 3/4. Can you see? So if I come in by 3/4, what I'm doing is to contour my back to avoid zip bulge. I'll place my tape, so this is what I did. When I came in by 0.75, I placed my ruler to the neckline this way. Can you see? That is how I got this line, and that is how I got this line to the hip. You have to connect it to the hip. So the part I marked now, I'm cutting them out, okay, to eliminate zip bulge. But note that you need to replace what you have, 0.75. So I'll come here and replace it. That is for the back. So I'll just go ahead and do what? And add that 0.75 back. So that is for the back. And then I'm going to also add what I have here. What I have here is about, I'll just take the measurement there, about 0.25. That is 1/4 I will add. Okay, so doing this, I have replaced that for the back. Can you see? Then I'll place my tape, my pattern ruler directly to the hip, because for the hip, the zip bulge terminated at the hip. Can you see? Nothing went out of there. So you just connect it direct to the hip. So what we'll have here now is a replacement of the back. Can you see? the replacement of that zip bulge. That is what we have here. So now we are done and we are going to cut. So I'll cut right now. Now I'm done cutting from the hem. I cut following the back, as you can see right here. I cut through the armhole, went to the back neckline. So everything I was cutting was all back. So this is where we have the zip bulge. I also cut it out, so I just want to show you that I cut it out. Can you see? So you have to cut it exactly and then split open the 1 inch because it was on fold before. So now I'm going to separate what I have for the back. I'll take the back away, then I will cut the front right now. So cutting the front, I'll just go ahead and cut the neckline, cut the armhole, and trim off this because that was the replacement of the zip bulge. So I will go ahead and cut now. So make sure it's well arranged before you cut. So I'll cut out that and then I'll come to the armhole. Then I'll come to this side. I'll trim off. Can you see? So we are done with the cutting. So I will now place my lace on top of it. So I will just open up, starting from the back. I'll place the lace accordingly. So once I finish arranging the lace, I'll secure with my pin accordingly and then trim off. Let me do that for back and front. So right now I have placed my lace on top of the lining, as you can see. So this is the front piece of the lace of the dress. So the front piece of the dress, I'll put it together into 2 equal parts because we have ruffles at the center front. So it will be good you identify the center front. So you can go ahead and iron out, make a crease line. So we'll be able to sew the ruffles. So make sure you identify the center front for the ruffles. So after that, I will take the measurement from my neckline. I'm taking the measurement of the length at which I'm going to sew these ruffles. So this is what I have to the hem. I have about 53 inches on that part. So this length of 53 inches, I will times it by 3. Okay, so I'm going to times it by 3. So that will be the length, total length of the ruffles I'm going to make at the center front. So whatever length you got from your neckline, whatever length you got to the hem, make sure you times it by 3. So I'll just use chalk lines to identify the center front where I'm going to sew the ruffles. So make sure you make your chalk lines to the end. So I'm done. So once I'm done, I'll open it up. I have my chalk line where I'll sew the ruffle. So for the ruffles, I have the width of the ruffle, the width of this ruffle. The ruffle, the length is 53 times 3. So I went ahead and cut out my Ankara 53 length into 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to join the 3 of them to form a very long piece for this ruffle. So the width of each of these is 5 inches. 5 inches is the width of the ruffle. The length is 53. That is the measurement you got times 3. So I will first go ahead and join right side to right side for the three of them. So now I've joined my lengths, the three of them. I've joined them into one total full length. So like I said, the width is totally 5. Then I'm going to my machine to sew. I'll put it on fold and sew 1/2 inch. So I will close up here and sew here, then turn it, the whole ruffle, turn it to the front. I'm done turning. Yes, I've sewn and turned. So I'll just come into this point I closed and open it up. So the reason I'm opening it up is because I want to spread open. The seam allowance will be at the center. Okay, so you don't need to see the seam allowance when stitching. So I'll come in with the dress right now. So I'm going to use my hand to pleat the ruffles. So the part I told you the seam allowance is, I'll start from the neckline. So as I'm sewing, I'll be pleating. So I just I'm going to give it the desired pleat I want. So I'll be sewing at the center and pleating this. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me do it at the machine. Center like I earlier demonstrated. Then I'll place that stitching line on top this way. Okay. So I will be pleating the way I just wish to pleat. So I will box pleat, I will kiss pleat. So you have to take your time and choose which kind of pleating of your choice. So I can also pleat and pleat and pleat again. So but the point is, when you are working on this, you have to make sure it's equal. So that means as you are working on it, you need to ensure that you take your time. So I will just be pleating. If what I am having here, I think I just want to, let me just have a box pleat and a kissing pleat to see how it's going to look. So I just want to make a kissing pleat to see how it will look. Okay, so that's how it looks. So you can just mix it up. But the most important thing is, as you are pleating, ensure you have it at the center. So I will keep mixing it up. I can box pleat. So of course you know how to box pleat and how to kiss pleats. And you can also decide to make pleats. So I will just do it according to how I think it will appear more beautiful. So that is what I'll keep doing till I get to the end of this dress. So after sewing the ruffle, so like I said, the pleats you can make it to your taste. Okay, so I've made the pleats and I made it all the way, and this is the excess I have from the 3. So that's why I said you have to join the length times 3. So I'll just stop at this point. Once I'm about to finish up here, I will show you how I finished this part. So the next thing we are going to do now is to lay the back on top. I'm going to sew the shoulder seam lines and then join the sides, sew my zipper. So I'll do all of that right now. So I'll go ahead, join my seam lines, shoulder, the side. So once I'm done with it, I will have the zip. Okay, so for the zip, I'm going to sew my invisible zip right here. So I'll finish up the joining and sewing of the zip, then I'll bring it back to show you how to sew the sleeve. So I'm done joining all the sides and I've also attached the zipper. So here is the front dress. So I want to show you how to finish up here. So for this particular piece, I will lift up, I will stitch on top. I'll still make my ruffles till I get to 1 inch. Once I get to 1 inch, I'll lift it up and stitch the remaining. So I'm going to cut off and fold in inside. Okay, so I lift up 1 inch because I'm going to hem the lining. So your lining is supposed to be either of the same length or a little bit above, so we'll still have our lace mouth. Can you see that? So I'm going to make my ruffles up to about 1 inch, and I'll lift it up and stitch only on the lace. Let me do that. Then for the side, you can see how the side is. So I'm going to separate lace and sew, separate lining and sew, so they will be different. So after I've stitched this, stitched that, then I'll now hem everything inward, so we'll have the lace mouth. So I'll finish it right now, then we'll jump into the sleeves. So now, before we go over to the sleeve, I'm going to use my bias to sew the neckline. So we are finishing up this neckline. So this is how I'm going to finish it up. I'll start from the zipper and I'll fold in my bias. I didn't get a matching color, so I have to use what I have here. But when you are working on this, ensure you are using a matching color with the lining. So I'll just go ahead, fold in my 1 inch zipper, fold in my bias at 0.5. I'll just fold it in this way. I will stitch from the outside, okay, from the right side. I'll stitch following the bias round. So once I come, I will finish it up inwards and top stitch. Let me do that. I've cut out my sleeve. I use my basic sleeve to cut out my sleeve. So the length of the sleeve is before the elbow line. So I measure the length of the sleeve from the at 11 inches. Okay, so I now added half an inch seam allowance and half an inch. So that is where this sleeve is going to be. It can be within 10 or 11 inches. So I added 0.5 inch and 1 inch seam allowance. So that is the sleeve that will carry this bigger sleeve of the ruffle. So now I'm going to make notches. So try and make your notches. So the notch at the front to show the front sleeve, and the notch at the sleeve grain line. So after that, I will now come in with my Ankara for the ruffle. So I have 2 of it on fold. Okay, so I'll just take off this and show you what I did here. So the length, the full length of this sleeve, the length of this sleeve is 55 inches and is on fold. It's on fold at 14 inches. Can you see that? 14 inches. So I will go ahead. This is the right side. I will turn it to the wrong side. I'm going to stitch 0.5 to the end. So I will stitch it to the end and turn it and show you what to do. So I'm done sewing, as you can see. So these are my stitching line at 0.5. So I'll just go ahead and I'm turning it to the right side. So once you turn it to the right side, you have the 2 open ends. Can you see? You have the 2 open ends. So always put the seam at the midline. So the seam, I'll place it on the midline like this. So after I have placed it on the center, because this is the part that will be inside, I'm going ahead to hem my sleeve. Okay, so this is the right side of it. I have to hem it. Then we'll go to the machine now. I will be showing you how you are going to ruffle this. So this is the part I told you to keep at the center, which is the sleeve joining. So you have to place the right side of the sleeve on top of it like this, starting from the beginning. So once we get to the machine now, I'll keep this on top, and I'm going to sew not on top of it, but I'll sew just on the lace. So as I'm sewing, I'll be gathering the under. I'll use my hand gathering because it's easy. So I'll show you how to go about it now. You place the hem part of the sleeve right here. So I'll back stitch. Now I'll be using my hand stitching, hand gathering. So this is easier for me. So whichever form of gathers that is easy for you, you can go ahead and apply that. So I'm stitching not on top of the hem, I'm stitching right on top of the lace. So I'll keep gathering gently like that, you can see. So I will gather all this fabric. I will make sure I gather them into the lace hem. Okay, so that's what I'll keep doing till I get to the end of it. So if you are using this method of gathering, please ensure you do it evenly. Everything has to be even, okay, so that you distribute it very well. So I'll gather right now, then I'm done sewing. You can see what I have right here. So the next thing I'll do is to put the sleeve together to the lace. I'm going to put everything together and stitch from the lace this way, including the sleeve, at half an inch or 1 inch, depending on your seam allowance. So I'll close up the sleeve from beginning right now. So let me do. So now I've finished sewing the sides. So I'm going to turn it to the right side. So when you turn it to the right side, this is what you will have. So now I'm going to sew this to the armhole. So I'll locate the part that is for the front. So I'm going to sew it to the armhole of the dress. So I'll bring in my dress now, and I'll open up the zip. So for this part, is going to be at the front. I'm going to sew it at the front. So I'll just turn my sleeve this way and then push it in this way. Match right side to the, I'm going to match the right side to the shoulder seam line to seam line, and I'll match armhole to the armhole of the dress. So I'll open up the seams and I'll go pin it all around, and I'll sew around. Let me do that for both of them. I'm done with the dress and I've given it a good press on the ruffles. So you need to lay the ruffles flat, okay, using your steam. You can see how flat it is. Then the sleeve, I've attached the sleeve, and this is what the sleeve I have on the sleeve. So if you want it to look exactly as it is on the thumbnail, you know this part is on fold, you just open it up this way. So this is how you open it up. If you want it to lay the way it is on the video, so if you lay it flat, it will be flat, but if you just open it up, it will have that beautiful ruffle effect. Can you see? Then I'll also go ahead and do this, lay this. Just try and be creative. So I just lay it open this way. So that is what I'll also do to the other sleeve. So you can see what I'm doing. So the more I open it, the more it gives that ruffle. So thank you very much for coming to this